That added pressure, and what you want to say to all your fans who came here?
Maligayang Pasko, mga kababayan.
So a deuce, no ad scoring.
An unforgettable collision unfolded in Macau on a night that was supposed to glow with holiday calm. While the rest of the world leaned into celebrations of peace and goodwill, Alexandra Eala walked onto a tennis court with a completely different mission. Beneath the dazzling lights of the Macau Forum, surrounded by luxury, spectacle, and expectation, the young Filipina delivered a performance that rattled nerves far beyond the arena walls. This was not a friendly pre-season hit or a polite exhibition exchange. This was confrontation. This was defiance. This was the moment a player ranked outside the elite stared directly at one of the world's best and refused to step back. Welcome to the night Macau learned a powerful lesson about belief, fearlessness, and the rise of a new force in women's tennis. Anyone who assumed the MGM Macau Masters would be a gentle warm-up before Melbourne was completely mistaken, because what erupted on that court was intensity, urgency, and drama at its purest form. It was the kind of tennis that silences rooms, quickens pulses, and makes spectators forget they're holding drinks in their hands as adrenaline takes over. At the center of it all stood Alexandra Eala, battling Russian prodigy Andreeva, and by the end of the night, the same question echoed everywhere. Is the distance between the promising and the elite shrinking faster than anyone expected? To truly understand why this match mattered, you have to understand where it happened and what it represented. The MGM Macau Masters is not an ordinary stop on the tennis calendar. It is an invitation-only showcase, a polished stage where rising talents share space with icons, and where preparation for the Grand Slam season begins under the watchful eyes of legends. It's part competition, part mentorship, part proving ground. Think of it as a high-stakes laboratory where confidence is built, reputations are tested, and future stars are quietly measured. The structure is elegant and symbolic. Two teams are led by two giants of the sport. On one side stands Team Lee, captained by Lee Na, the trailblazer who shattered ceilings and became Asia's first Grand Slam singles champion. On the other side is Team Conchita, led by Conchita Martinez, a Hall of Famer whose tactical intelligence and championship pedigree command instant respect. These women are not just figureheads. They are living textbooks of elite tennis, guiding, shaping, and evaluating the next generation with every exchange. Every player knows that every shot, every reaction, every adjustment is being observed by minds that understand greatness better than almost anyone alive. Alexandra Eala was selected to represent Team Lee, and the symbolism was almost poetic. Lee Na opened doors for Asian tennis on the global stage, proving that excellence was not confined to traditional powerhouses. Now Eala, carrying the pride of the Philippines, stepped forward as part of that continuing story. But what made her presence even more compelling was the condition in which she arrived. Just days earlier, she had been grinding through the suffocating heat of Thailand at the Southeast Asian Games, fighting not only opponents but exhaustion, pressure, and national expectation. She emerged with gold for her country, emotionally drained and physically taxed. There was barely time to breathe, let alone recover, before she was on a plane to Macau. So when the draw revealed she would face Andreeva, reactions followed a familiar script. Compliments were offered. Smiles were exchanged. Analysts spoke about the value of experience, about learning opportunities, about exposure. Beneath the politeness, expectations were clear. Most assumed Eala would be overwhelmed, that this would be a short, one-sided affair where the higher-ranked star asserted dominance and moved on. After all, Andreeva was everything the rankings suggested. 18 years old, already established, sitting comfortably inside the top 10. A defensive mastermind whose consistency frustrated seasoned professionals. A player labeled as the future of Russian tennis, a prodigy expected to rule the tour for years. Opponents often left matches against her questioning their strategy, their patience, sometimes even their confidence. On paper, the gap looked obvious. But paper has never played a point of tennis. Alexandra Eala didn't arrive to admire resumes. She arrived to compete. And judging by what followed, she didn't just ignore expectations, she obliterated them. Before the first ball was struck, Eala stood for a brief interview that now feels eerily predictive. Asked about the pressure of performing in front of a strong Filipino crowd, she responded with warmth and sincerity. She wished everyone a happy holiday, thanked fans for choosing tennis as part of their celebrations, and spoke respectfully about sharing the court with Andreeva. She smiled easily, projecting humility and gratitude. To a casual observer, she looked like the perfect ambassador, polite and composed. But the moment the microphone disappeared and the umpire called play, that softness vanished. The transformation was instant. What remained was pure competitiveness. This duality is something outsiders often misunderstand about elite athletes. The kindness is real. The respect is genuine. But beneath it lies a relentless will to win, a mindset that does not hesitate when opportunity appears. Alexandra Eala embodies that balance completely. From the opening games, something unusual unfolded. The crowd's early chatter faded, replaced by focused silence. Not boredom, but disbelief. Eala wasn't surviving rallies, she was commanding them. She stepped inside the baseline, took the ball early, and struck with intent. Her forehand, loaded with heavy topspin forged at the Rafa Nadal Academy, carved sharp angles cross-court. She redirected pace confidently, refusing to retreat into passive defense. Andreeva, known for controlling tempo, suddenly found herself pushed, stretched, and forced to respond. Then came the moment that shifted the atmosphere entirely. Eala broke serve and moved ahead 2-1 in the opening set. The significance of that break rippled through the arena. A player ranked in the 50s, fresh off a physically demanding international campaign, had just taken control against the world number 9. Heads turned. Eyebrows rose. Even seasoned observers leaned forward in their seats. Across the court, in Team Conchita's box, Martinez's expression changed from calm observation to sharp focus. This wasn't following the expected pattern. Traditionally, matches like this follow a predictable rhythm. The underdog shows flashes of courage, maybe steals a few games, but the favorites class eventually imposes order. Experience wins. Rankings assert themselves. That script has been repeated countless times. But Alexandra Eala either never learned it or simply rejected it. What made her performance so striking was not just the scoreline, but the manner in which she played. There was no hesitation, no safe rallying, no desperate defense. She swung freely, trusting her weapons. Her backhand, often labeled inconsistent, suddenly found precision, painting corners with confidence. Her movement allowed her to arrive early to shots, setting her feet and dictating direction. Andreeva, for perhaps the first time in a long while, looked unsettled. She had expected resistance, not authority. As the set progressed, the Filipino supporters found their voice. What began as hopeful applause turned into thunderous cheers. Flags waved. Chants echoed. Each Eala winner fed the energy loop between player and crowd. The match grew louder, sharper, more emotional. It was no longer an exhibition, it was a statement unfolding in real time. At 3 games all, the illusion of casual competition evaporated completely. Coaches leaned forward. Conversations stopped. Everyone understood that something serious was happening. Conchita Martinez signaled adjustments, recalibrating tactics. Andreeva responded like a top player should, steadying herself and edging ahead to 5-4. But even then, Eala refused to concede ground easily. She held serve, forcing the Russian to earn the set. When Andreeva finally closed it 6-4, relief was evident. On the scoreboard, it looked routine. In reality, it felt like survival. The first set had sent a clear message across the tennis world. Alexandra Eala was not here to participate. She was here to challenge. As the second set began, logic suggested a familiar outcome. Tennis history is full of brave first sets from underdogs that fade once the favorite recalibrates. Adrenaline burns fast, belief wavers, and the physical toll of playing above one's usual level eventually surfaces. The higher-ranked player typically raises intensity just enough, tightens margins, and takes control. That expectation hovered in the arena as Mira Andreeva prepared to serve again. But once more, Alexandra Eala refused to follow convention. Instead of retreating, she surged forward with renewed intent. Almost immediately, she broke Andreeva's serve yet again and surged ahead 2-1. The reaction was explosive. The Filipino fans erupted, jumping to their feet, waving flags, shouting encouragement that reverberated off the walls. Neutral spectators were swept into the moment too, because few things in sport are more captivating than a fearless challenger pushing the established order. What had begun as curiosity was now genuine belief. In the Team Conchita box, the mood shifted decisively. The relaxed posture from earlier was gone. Conchita Martinez was animated, speaking urgently to her assistants, eyes locked on the court. This was no longer about a pre-season hit. Andreeva, the teenage star already accustomed to Grand Slam pressure, was being forced to dig deep by a player many casual fans had underestimated. The message being broadcast was unmistakable. Alexandra Eala was announcing herself. Not loudly, not arrogantly, but unmistakably through her tennis. Yet this is where champions reveal why they are champions. Andreeva did not panic. She did not abandon her identity. Instead, she leaned into her greatest strength, adaptability. Down in the second set and having absorbed sustained aggression, Andreeva adjusted with precision. She stopped trying to match Eala's power outright. Instead, she deepened her shots, increased net clearance, and used heavy topspin to push Eala farther behind the baseline. The rallies lengthened. The court widened. Eala, who had been striking freely, now had to generate everything herself. It was a subtle shift, but in elite tennis, subtlety can be devastating. Each rally demanded more legs, more patience, more precision. Andreeva's defense hardened into a wall. Ball after ball came back, forcing Eala to take risks again and again. Gradually, the momentum turned. From a 2-1 deficit, the Russian reeled off 5 consecutive games. 5. Each earned through consistency, discipline, and tactical clarity rather than gifts. Eala did not surrender easily. She fought for angles, searched for openings, and continued to swing with courage. But fatigue, invisible yet inevitable, began to creep in. The emotional and physical residue of Thailand, the travel, the pressure, the sheer effort of sustaining such a high level against a top 10 opponent began to show. Her movement slowed by fractions, her margins narrowed, and the tank that had been fueled by adrenaline finally ran low. Andreeva closed the set 6-2, sealing the match in straight sets. The final score read 6-4, 6-2. On paper, a routine victory for the favorite. In reality, a battle that told a far richer story than numbers ever could. Because tennis, perhaps more than any other sport, often hides truth behind scorelines. The numbers do not reveal the fear a favorite feels when broken early. They do not capture the uncertainty that creeps in when a supposed underdog dictates play. They cannot measure the shift in atmosphere when a crowd realizes it is witnessing something meaningful. What happened in Macau was not just a loss for Alexandra Eala. It was a revelation. It demonstrated how narrow the margin truly is between established elites and those knocking at the door. It showed that Eala is not merely a regional success story or a feel-good narrative from smaller events. She is a legitimate threat, capable of challenging anyone on tour when conditions align. Consider the broader context. Mira Andreeva, despite her youth, has already navigated tennis's biggest stages. She has stood across the net from legends, played under the glare of Grand Slam lights, and learned how to problem-solve in real time against the best. She understands how to manage momentum, how to weather storms, and how to close matches when challenged. Alexandra Eala, at 20, is still absorbing those lessons. She is still learning when to press and when to reset, how to sustain belief through momentum swings, how to balance aggression with patience across an entire match. And yet, despite that gap in experience, she led in both sets against a top 10 player. That fact alone should command attention. What should truly unsettle the rest of the tour is not what Eala lacks, but what she already possesses. She has the physical tools to compete at the highest level. She has the power, the speed, and the shot-making ability to dictate rallies. She has the mindset to step onto a court with no fear of reputation. The distance separating her from the top 20 is not talent. It is repetition. It is exposure. And experience, unlike talent, accumulates relentlessly with time. After the match, Eala returned to her familiar demeanor. She spoke with humility, praised Andreeva's quality, thanked the fans, and smiled easily. To the outside world, it looked like acceptance. But inside, a competitor was processing every detail. Every rally. Every adjustment. Every moment where opportunity appeared and slipped away. Losses like this do not discourage athletes like Eala. They sharpen them. They provide blueprints for growth. In the days that followed, The conversation around her shifted noticeably. Clips circulated online. Analysts revisited assumptions. Journalists who once framed her as a regional standout began describing her as a genuine contender. Her name entered discussions about young players to watch, no longer as an outsider but as part of the emerging core. Even in Russia, there was quiet recognition that Andreeva's victory had required far more than expected. The Philippines, it was clear, now had a player capable of standing toe-to-toe with the world's best. With the Australian Open approaching, anticipation grew. Could Eala reproduce this level on a Grand Slam stage? How would she handle the pressure of being taken seriously rather than underestimated? Would she face another elite opponent early, and if so, could she sustain belief across an entire match? These questions lingered, charged with excitement rather than doubt. What Macau proved beyond argument is that Alexandra Eala is no longer sneaking up on anyone. Opponents will prepare. They will respect her. And they will know that victory will require full commitment. Sport is powerful because it offers glimpses of the future before it fully arrives. Under the bright lights of Macau, in front of passionate Filipino supporters, one of those glimpses appeared. A young woman refused to be overawed. She traded blows with a top 10 star. She seized leads when she was expected to be overwhelmed. And even in defeat, she left no doubt that something significant is unfolding. This is why fans watch. Not for predictability, but for moments when the script bends. When belief challenges hierarchy. When the future announces itself without permission. Alexandra Eala gave tennis that moment in Macau. The result may have favored Russia, but the broader message belonged to her. The journey ahead will demand consistency, resilience, and growth. But if she builds on this performance, if she sharpens the small details that separate contenders from champions, the sport may soon be welcoming a new star. The battle in Macau is over. The story, however, is only just beginning.